Hey guys, Alex Newman here with the New American. We are at the We Stand America event, and with us we have a former teacher who decided to homeschool her children. Her name is Mallory Staples, and she's also running for Congress now. Mallory, thanks very much for being with us. And so tell us a little bit about your career in teaching. What did you see that caused you to think that your children would be better off homeschooled?
Yeah. So I briefly taught at a school in the metro Atlanta area when I was a younger lady, and then had my own children and kind of thought, I can do this. You know, how hard can this be? So it kind of surprised me. I wanted to be with my kids all the time. That was really my motivation. I wanted to have them home with me. And so I'm a public school kid. I grew up in public school, had a relatively good experience with that, but came in contact with some products, as I like to call them, like situational ethics, kind of precursors to the CRT or how they were packaged previously. Situational ethics, just the pervasive humanistic approach, and knew that. So I was suspicious of the education system just from my own personal experience, being challenged, to say the least, for my faith as a Christian, and had experienced that all through high school and into college. And so had the opportunity when I taught, the school I taught in is a private Christian school. So really experienced the freedom. That contrast to my public school education was stark. And so a lot of those factors that prompted me to keep my kids, under the roof and teach them, and that was 11 years ago. So we've enjoyed it and had a good time being together, and especially now running for Congress. I'm so thankful. I didn't realize it at the time, for that season where we were all together so much, because running for Congress keeps me outside the house more than I've ever been in their lives. So it was a great foundation, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Awesome. And what would you say to parents out there? I know there's a lot of parents who are concerned about what's happening in the schools. Would you encourage them to homeschool if they can, and why?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the data on homeschooling, as far as like the emotional well-being, even the social benefits, and that's one of the arguments that people like to say, what about socialization? I'm like, oh my gosh, have you been in a large school lately? That's like all the things we're trying to avoid. So my message to them would be, you're totally empowered to do this already, just as their parent. It's not difficult. There's so many resources available now that I didn't even have when I started doing it. And you could see the growth because there's such a need. There's so many people moving to homeschooling across the country. So I would say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. That's the same message I have in politics as like to the people, as the voters, is don't be afraid. Don't give in to the fear. And so I would just send them a message of encouragement and to do it. And all across, like in the Atlanta, especially, I'm involved with one organization called Beacon Life. And there's been such a withdrawal from the public school system, parents because it's almost like an emergency. They come across some book or horrible project, or they have a discussion with a teacher and realize what's happening, or they hear something on Zoom and they're like, we've got to get out, and we've got to get out now. Like, there's no time. This is not going to be a negotiation. This is not like the teacher's going to say, oh, okay, never mind. We're not going to teach this to your child. And so there's groups like Beacon Life all over that are creating these pods and structures and equipping parents to very quickly in real time step into that homeschooling arena and to do it well and not feel like they're alone. Yeah. So I would say investigate, look into it, research, because those types of groups are all over. I mean, I hear about them all over the country.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere. It's true. So what caused you to think, hey, I need to run for Congress?
So I'm a Christian and really felt called by God, which is the simple answer. Yes, I'm a fighter. Yes, I'm capable of doing the job, but even at that, I wouldn't have wanted it for myself. Mm-hmm. And so I just really answered the call. I mean, I think we all have moments in life where we say yes to something bigger than ourselves. And this is my moment. And I am fiercely protective of my children. So that's like my passion. My reason is just feeling like this is what I'm supposed to do. My reason is protecting my children's freedoms. There's nothing, there's no stopping point. There's no finish line as a mom that I will cross that says, okay, I've given that much to protecting my kids. I'm all done here. It's endless. And so it's primal, it's instinctive, it's like God-given. And so the country that my children are inheriting is unrecognizable to me in so many areas. And I'm just not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And so I'm fighting. I'm a massive patriot, always have been, but, and I'm fighting for the country, but the call is like to protect my children, and they're not safe. My children are not safe. This next generation is not safe, whether you look at it from a losing medical freedom, the mandating of all of that, the educational corruption. There's really corrupt. The system of education in the country is totally corrupt. We're not educating our children at all. It's just indoctrination. And so on so many fronts, I'm fighting for my kids. And I think there's candidates like me all over the country that we're not born and bred to be in politics, but we are passionate, we have convictions, and we're willing to fight. And so I'm excited about that because I think there's a lot of people like myself.
Yeah, there are. I've noticed all over the country now, suddenly moms and dads and people who never thought about politics too much are like, hey, somebody needs to do something.
Yeah,
so
why not me?
You're right. So what are some of your key issues before we let you go? What are some of the top 3 or 5 things that you think need to be done differently in Washington, D.C.?
Election integrity is huge. On a federal level, it's blocking H.R. 1 and the federalization of our voting process. On a state level, that's reform and legislation by the state legislators that needs to take place. That is the number one issue that people are concerned about when I talk to folks. And it makes sense. The voters are smart. The American people are smart, and they know that behind that freedom to elect the people that govern us lies every other freedom. And so that is the number one issue. Second would be education and education-related issues, whether it's a mandate, CRT, SEL, DEI, CSE, all those things that are coming at the kids. It's education for sure. And then third and fourth, I would say, would be the economy and national security. On so many fronts.
So what should be done as it relates to the federal government with, say, education or the economy? What would you change?
Spending. Oh, okay. Spending. I mean, it's as they say, it's unsustainable, but they keep doing it. Yep. And so the American people are hurting in large part by inflation and reckless spending. And the spending is just for control purposes for the government. It's for the growth of the federal government. It's nonsensical. It's not logical. It's not good business. And it's not for the benefit of the people. And the education system, first and foremost, needs to be totally reformed. And in large part, we need to take what we have, drop it in the trash. And our education system shouldn't be federalized. That's not the job of the federal government to educate the children of America. So I would start with that.
Wow, that's awesome. Where can people learn more, Mallory?
My website is staplesforcongress.com. And there's links there to all my social media to follow me, and then all the information about myself, tons of videos and data, calendars and donations, and all that happens through my website.
Awesome. Well, Mallory, thank you very much for spending some time with us. Thank you for getting involved. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that was Mallory Staples running for Congress, homeschool mom, trying to change things in Washington, D.C. I'm Alex Newman. This is The New American. Thanks for tuning in.